Welcome back to OK Hobby Time. In this video, we're going to be building what I consider the most versatile piece of Dungeons & Dragons terrain, the Ultimate Dungeon Tile. There are a bunch of different ways to play D&D. In its simplest form, it's a game that's played with pen and paper, with the rest being filled in by the player's imagination. On the flip side, the Dungeon Master can create a table loaded with terrain and construct an epic landscape that represents the environment one-to-one. There's no right or wrong way to play, which is a testament to D&D's incredible versatility. Today we'll be focusing on a playstyle that lies somewhere in between both of these directions. Inspired by Professor Dungeon Master and now many others, the Ultimate Dungeon Tile allows for a setting to be easily established by only swapping out a large base tile and a few pieces of scatter terrain. Similar to the Fog of War concept found in different video games, the idea is that the tile represents the immediate line of sight of the adventuring party. All of the action takes place in the center of the tile, and the walls, if any, are implied. This video will show you step by step how I made these 3 different tiles, including a grass tile, cobblestone tile, and a wooden tile. Together, these 3 basic environments cover a huge amount of scenarios that come up while playing Dungeons & Dragons or any other similar tabletop role-playing game. I'm going to be using these 12-inch wooden plaques that I found at my local craft store. They had an entire section full of wooden boards that came in different sizes and shapes. If something like this isn't accessible to you, these round boards can be substituted with any flat, sturdy object you can get a hold of. I'll be using quick dry wood glue, water, and a soft bristle brush for this next part. I start by covering the entire board in glue straight from the bottle. I then dunk my brush in water. This is going to help with spreading the glue around the board. The trick here is to use enough water to make the glue spreadable without it becoming too diluted. Next, I'll be using the sand I found outside, which contains a combination of fine and coarse grains. It's important that the sand has a variety of grain sizes to give the floor a more interesting look. When applying the sand, I do a little bit at a time, dropping a handful from up above so it scatters evenly. It's best to do a small bit at a time, making sure there's a consistent coverage throughout. Any small patches that need more glue can be touched up if needed. Since this sand is found outside, it's also important to remove any weird twigs or stones that could look out of scale. The final result should be a nice and consistent application of sand. These boards are going to see a lot of play, so to make sure the sand stays put, I'm going to be using scenic cement, which is essentially diluted glue with a surfactant that helps break surface tension and increase spreading. Once dried, the sand should feel more durable with every grain being stuck in place. Next up is the paint. I'm going to be using craft paint here, starting with this brown color. I'll be watering this paint down slightly to help apply it easier to the textured sand. I find that using a dabbing motion here works best. Combined with a soft bristle brush, the paint gets mopped into the sand and creates a perfect coverage. Black paint is used to finish the edge of the board and give it a more polished look. I'm going to be using gray to bring out the larger grains of the sand and make them look like miniature rocks. This is applied using a dry brush method, making sure that there's only enough paint on my brush to hit the most raised parts of the board. I then add an even lighter gray into the mix and apply this to the ground, with the final result looking like this. Next, I prep the surface for the grassy flock by covering the board again in a coat of scenic cement. Another layer of glue is also going to help a bunch with durability. While the glue is still wet, I begin applying the blended turf flock by shaking it onto the board from up above. Similar to the application of the sand, applying this a bit at a time to ensure even coverage is key here. I'm not going for 100% coverage since I want some of the nice ground texture to peek through in patches. And with that done, the grass tile is completed. I'm starting off the cobblestone tile by cutting down some XPS foam on my hot wire cutter. A variety of cobblestone sizes are going to be created so that the floor has a more interesting look to it. The tiles begin as long rectangular sheets, 2 centimeters in width. For the largest tiles, the long pieces are cut down by 2 centimeters to create a square. The medium tiles are cut down further to create 1 centimeter by 2 centimeter rectangles. Finally, the smallest of the tiles are created by cutting down XPS foam into 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter squares. Altogether, this creates a system of tiles that interlock nicely. In order to get a stone texture, I'm going to be tossing these into a container of rocks and giving them a good shake. This is a quick way to give the foam a more organic, stone-like texture. Next, I'm coating the wooden plaque and wood glue to prep the surface for the foam tiles. Before laying any tiles down, I made a pattern ahead of time that I can follow during the crafting process. I wanted to make sure the placement of the different sizes were evenly distributed into a pattern that I thought looked good. This part is pretty tedious, but there's something fun and relaxing about this type of repetitive work. In the end, I'm left with a cobblestone tile that I'm quite happy with. Once the glue is dried, the overhanging tiles are ready to be trimmed down with a utility knife. To push the stone texture even further, I use some rolled up tinfoil and press it into the foam in selective spots. The first part of the painting process is to coat the tiles entirely in black. This base layer will also act as a shadow color for the deepest recesses. Next, a few different gray colors are put onto my palette and mixed to create a color scheme for my cobblestone tiles. I'm painting the tiles one by one, making sure to change up the grays as I go so the colors are evenly distributed, creating an interesting and varied look. I'm also being careful not to saturate the paint on the foam since I want a little bit of that black paint underneath to show through for some extra shadows. I want this tile to have a more realistic look. My paint palette is mixed together to create a midtone that will be lightly overbrushed on top of everything. This unites the entire paint job but still maintains the variation of the original colors underneath. Finally, a highlight color is dry brush on top in a single direction to make the stone texture really pop. And with that done, the cobblestone tile is complete. I begin the wooden tile by cutting down a bunch of XPS foam strips on a hot wire cutter. The final planks are going to be 1 centimeter wide and have varying lengths. To create my wood texture, I use a hot wire cutter with an adjustable heat setting. The texture is created by the prong tip of the metal wand. Also, I should mention off camera that I'm practicing good safety precautions, an important part of working with heat and foam. The hot wire cutter is dragged across each plank one by one, creating an interesting wood grain that will take to painting really well. I begin placing down the planks one at a time, making sure to lay these down like actual hardwood floors. This means staggering the end joints so that they're offset from the plank in the previous row. I also found that varying the lengths of the planks creates a more interesting look. I kept my scale in mind when creating the different size planks, making sure they suit my 32mm miniatures once placed on top. After the glue had dried, I trimmed the overhanging pieces. I'm going to save a bunch of time by using this foam safe primer. Unlike regular primer, this stuff won't melt foam. Once dried, I go back in with some diluted paint just to make sure all the really small sections have been completely coated. I continue on with the wood by painting each plank one by one using different browns. This is going to create an interesting and varied wooden floor. Once I'm happy with the planks, I coat the tile in an ink wash made from diluted brown paint and a tiny bit of dish soap. Next, I mix up a highlight color and lightly dry brush the entire tile. This creates a really nice look and helps make the hot wire texture pop. Finally, I paint the rim of the wooden plaque in black. And with that done, all 3 of the tiles are complete. I'm pretty excited to use these new tiles with my gaming group and look forward to the amount of scenarios that these will be used for. I love the idea of quickly and easily swapping settings with these tiles and a few pieces of terrain on top. I feel that the Ultimate Dungeon tile really encourages a wider imagination, and I look forward to adding more environments to my collection. And that wraps up this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.